In 1987, a quiet town in North America was shaken by the disappearance of a 9-year-old boy named Ethan Hensley. His parents searched every inch of the valley, but he was never found. 25 years later, when the family decided to rebuild their old farmhouse, something inside one of the walls began to whisper Ethan's name over and over again. If you love mysterious true crime-style stories like this, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment below, and subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new mystery every week. Now, let's get into it. The town of Ravendale, hidden deep in the Appalachian Mountains, was the kind of place that never really made the news. It was quiet, predictable, and for the most part, safe. But the summer of 1987 changed that forever. That was the year Ethan Hensley, a cheerful 9-year-old boy with freckles and a bowl-cut haircut, vanished while playing near an abandoned factory just half a mile from his family's home. It was a Saturday afternoon. The kind of day when cicadas screamed from the trees and the air smelled like dust and heat. Dana Hensley remembered that day for the rest of her life. She was hanging laundry in the backyard when she saw Ethan riding his bike down the dirt road toward the old mill. "Be back before dinner," she yelled. Ethan turned around and waved. "I will, Mom." Those were the last words she ever heard from him. By 6 p.m., dinner sat untouched. By 7:30, Michael had driven down every road in the valley, shouting Ethan's name until his voice broke. By 10 o'clock, police lights painted their farmhouse red and blue. No bike. No footprints. No sign of struggle. Just gone. For weeks, hundreds of volunteers scoured the woods. Helicopters hovered above the ravine, and divers searched the quarry lake. But the case grew cold faster than anyone expected. The sheriff at the time, Tom Devereaux, called it a disappearance with no logical trail. Whispers spread around town. Some said a drifter took him. Others claimed the boy had fallen into one of the deep mine shafts that dotted the area. But the Hensleys never believed that. Dana and Michael refused to move. They kept Ethan's room exactly as it was. The little baseball glove, the comics, the faded poster of the moon landing, everything frozen in time. 2 years later, in 1989, their daughter Lily was born. She grew up in a home filled with silence, pictures of a brother she'd never met, and parents who seemed stuck between life and memory. By 2012, Ravendale had changed. The mill was demolished, the mine shaft sealed, and the Hensley farmhouse was falling apart. Lily, now 23, convinced her parents to renovate the house. Maybe, she thought, a fresh start would finally break the curse that had gripped their lives for decades. But the moment the first hammer struck the living room wall, everything changed. It started small. On the third day of renovations, Michael was tearing down drywall when he swore he heard something. A whisper. At first, he thought it was the wind slipping through a crack in the insulation. But then he heard it again. Then. He froze. The sound was faint but deliberate, like someone exhaling his son's name from inside the wall. Michael called for Dana, his hands trembling. When she leaned close, she heard it too. A breathy, drawn-out whisper. Then. They tore down more plaster. Nothing. Behind the wall was solid brick and old wiring. Lily thought they were just tired. Maybe hearing things after all the dust and noise. But that night, the whisper came again, clearer this time and longer. "Ethan, help me." Lily decided to record it. She placed her phone near the wall overnight. The next morning, when she played it back, the sound was undeniable. A soft male voice, childlike, calling for help. Michael slammed his fist on the counter. "That's his voice. I swear to God, that's Ethan's voice." Dana was shaking. It can't be. He'd be 34 years old now. But the recording didn't lie. They called a contractor to check if there were any pipes or vents that could cause echoes. The man shrugged. Old house, weird acoustics. Or maybe someone's having fun with you. That last sentence sent Michael over the edge. That night, he sat in front of the wall, eyes red, whispering his son's name back into it, like a prayer. 2 nights later, something fell out of a crack near the baseboard, a folded piece of paper, brown and brittle with age. Michael carefully unfolded it. Inside, in a child's handwriting, were 5 words. He said, "Don't tell Mom." Dana dropped the note. Lily stared at it, whispering, "Is that Ethan's writing?" Dana nodded slowly. It was. That note was written on the same kind of school paper Ethan used for his 3rd-grade homework. But there was something else, faint smudges of red near the corner. Blood. Or just rust. They took the note to the local police. Sheriff Tom Devereaux was long retired, but his son Mark Devereaux had taken over. He listened, uneasy. "I remember the case," he said. "My dad never got over it." He agreed to reopen the file, quietly. 2 weeks later, he came back to the Hensleys with something unexpected. "The factory near your old property, it was never demolished. The underground tunnels are still there." Michael's eyes widened. "That's where he went missing." The sheriff nodded. "There's talk some of those tunnels were used back in the 80s for things that weren't exactly legal." Michael, Dana, and Lily joined the sheriff and his team as they opened one of the sealed entrances. The air inside smelled like wet iron and old paper. Their flashlights swept over graffiti, broken crates, and rusted metal. But near the end of one tunnel, where the ground dipped and the air turned cold, they found something. A brick wall, built hastily, unevenly, right beneath the Hensley property line. Dana gasped. Lily whispered, "That's the wall." The sheriff marked the site, promising to return with forensic gear the next morning. But Michael couldn't wait. That night, he went back alone. He brought a crowbar and flashlight. The deeper he went, the colder it got. As he reached the wall, the whisper started again. Only this time, it wasn't coming from behind the bricks. It was inside his head. "Dad, please don't." His hands shook. He struck the wall anyway. Dust exploded around him. A faint metallic clink echoed. He hit again. And again. Then, something rolled out from between the bricks, a small metal badge. He wiped off the dirt and stared at it under the light. It read, "Ravendale County Security Division," and stamped beneath the logo, T. Devereaux. Michael froze. That was the sheriff's father's name. As the dust settled, Michael realized the truth might be much darker than any ghost story. Because the wall wasn't whispering from the other side. It was echoing something buried deep in the town's past, something the Devereaux family had spent decades keeping quiet. Michael sat in the basement, staring at the rusted badge. His mind was racing. Why would the old sheriff's badge be inside the wall beneath his house? By the time Dana came downstairs, he was still holding it, his hands shaking. "Michael, what did you find?" He turned the badge over in his palm. Tom Devereaux's badge. "It was in the wall, Dana. Inside it." Her eyes widened. "That's impossible. Why would—" Michael interrupted her, voice trembling. He was the one who handled Ethan's case. He was the last one to see the search site before they sealed it off. Silence filled the room. For the first time in decades, Dana felt something worse than grief, suspicion. The next morning, Sheriff Mark Devereaux arrived. He saw the badge and went pale. Where did you get this?" Michael's eyes burned. "From the wall under our house, right next to where my son disappeared." Mark rubbed his forehead. "That's my father's. He lost it during the original search. At least that's what he told me." Michael stepped closer. "Did he lose it, or leave it?" The sheriff didn't answer. Mark finally said, "Look, my father's gone now, but I'll check the old evidence archives. Maybe there's something you need to see." That night, the sheriff came back with a dusty cardboard box. Inside were folders yellowed with time, photos clipped to corners, and a few cassette tapes. He placed the box on the table. "This is all that's left from 1987. Some of it, my dad didn't file officially." Dana looked confused. "What do you mean, didn't file?" Mark sighed. "He kept a separate log. Said some evidence didn't fit the narrative." Michael opened one of the unfiled reports and froze. It was dated August 15th, 1987, the day after Ethan disappeared. Found bicycle near North Quarry entrance. Blood present on seat handle. Witness statement from mill worker R. Hanley. Said he saw a boy with Sheriff Tom Devereaux near the mill entrance around 3:45 p.m. Statement suppressed. Michael whispered, "Suppressed." He erased it. Mark looked down. "I didn't know. I swear to you, I didn't know." They went to the old mill site the next morning. The sheriff brought 2 deputies. The place was desolate. Only concrete foundations and patches of grass where machines used to stand. Near the northern edge of the property, the ground was uneven. A recent landslide had exposed parts of the old foundation. Michael's flashlight caught something half buried in the dirt, a child's sneaker, faded blue with a torn lace. Dana covered her mouth. Lily, who had insisted on coming, fell to her knees. "That's Ethan's shoe. I've seen it in pictures." The sheriff ordered the deputies to mark the site for excavation. But before they could leave, Lily noticed something behind a collapsed beam, fresh cement covering what looked like an old entryway. They broke through the cement that same afternoon. Behind it was a small chamber, no bigger than a closet. Inside, a rotting wooden chair, frayed rope, and a rusted metal pipe stained with something dark. And carved into the wall, over and over again, was a single name. "Ethan." Lily started to sob. Dana turned away. Michael just stood there, frozen. The sheriff's voice trembled. "We'll have the lab run tests. But this looks like a holding room." Michael's voice was hoarse. "Someone kept him here." That night, Mark Devereaux returned with one of the old cassette tapes from the box. This was labeled EH Audio. "I think your son's initials." He placed it in an old player and hit play. At first, there was static, then a faint voice. A man's voice. Older. "You don't tell your mother what you saw, okay? You promise me that, Ethan." Then a child's voice, nervous and trembling. But I didn't mean to follow them. I just wanted to see what they were building." Silence. Then the man again, sharper. "No one can know about this place." The tape cut off. Dana clutched her chest. "That's him. That's Ethan. That's our boy." Michael's voice was low, barely audible. The man's voice. That was Tom Devereaux. Mark's face went pale. "It can't be. My father, he—" Michael stood up suddenly, knocking over his chair. "Your father murdered my son." That night, the Hensleys tried to sleep. But around 2 a.m., Lily woke up to a sound. It was coming from the living room, from the wall again. "Lily, help me!" She froze. The voice was softer now, weaker. She ran to her parents' room, shouting for them to listen. Michael grabbed the flashlight and they all stood before the wall. And then they all heard it, faint but real. "Dad, stop digging." Michael's eyes filled with tears. "He's not trapped anymore. He's warning us." Suddenly, the entire house began to groan, old beams creaking, plaster cracking. Something heavy shifted inside the wall. Lily screamed as part of the drywall split open, revealing a hollow space. Inside was another folded note. It was barely legible, written in smeared pencil. "He said they'll come for you if you tell. He said walls can keep secrets. But I hear them." Dana began to cry. "He was alive long enough to write this." Lily's hands shook as she read the bottom line aloud. "The wall whispers when they lie." The next morning, Sheriff Mark Devereaux came to the house, alone, pale, eyes red from no sleep. "I listened to the rest of that tape," he said quietly. "There were more recordings. My father, he was part of a group." Michael frowned. "A group?" Mark nodded slowly. "They used the tunnels under the factory to move contraband, money, goods, sometimes people. Your son must have stumbled on one of their meetings." "My father tried to keep him quiet, but something went wrong." Silence. "He built that wall to hide what he'd done. My mother left him the next year. He told everyone he lost his badge in the search because he was ashamed to go near the site again." Mark looked like he could barely stand. He wrote in his final letter, "He heard whispers in that house until the day he died. Said Ethan wouldn't forgive him." 3 nights later, the Hensleys returned to the house to pack their things. They couldn't stay anymore. But around midnight, Dana smelled smoke. Flames had started in the basement, right where the first wall had been torn down. By the time firefighters arrived, the entire back half of the house was gone. When investigators sifted through the ashes, they found the badge again, melted but intact, lying beside what looked like a set of small skeletal remains. The coroner's report later confirmed it. The DNA matched Ethan Hensley. Ravendale changed after that. The tunnels were sealed permanently. The sheriff resigned, leaving the badge on the town hall steps. Michael and Dana moved away with Lily. They never rebuilt the house. But sometimes, when Lily visits the ruins, she swears she can still hear a soft voice in the wind. "You found me, sis. Thank you." The story of the Hensleys spread across forums and local legends as the Whispering Wall. Some say it's proof that spirits stay where the truth was buried. Others believe it was the weight of guilt that made those whispers real. Either way, when you stand near that valley at night, and the wind slides through the cracks of the ruins, it still sounds like a boy calling home. "Dad. Mom. I'm here." If you made it to the end of this mystery, thank you for watching. What do you think? Was it the echo of guilt, or something beyond our understanding? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next dark mystery.